like to call this meeting of the Coventry Town Council to order at 6:30 PM. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Here.
Councilmember Ludwig is absent. Councilmember Shockley.
Here.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Here.
President Lima.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. In the event of an emergency, members of the public here in chambers can exit out either door 1 or 2 in the back and exit to the back parking lot or front lawn. May I have a motion to approve the minutes as a block?
Make the motion.
I'll second it.
Motion from Vice President LeBlanc, second from Councilmember Shockley. Any discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of May 16th, 2023 and the executive session minutes of June 13th, 2023 as a block?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Clerk, did you receive any amendments?
I received one from Vice President LeBlanc and it was made.
Thank you. Hearing no further discussion, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Moving on to public comment on docketed items only. Are there any members of the public here in council chambers who'd like to make a public comment on a docketed item? Any members of the public on Zoom? Okay. Last time, public comment, docketed items. Public comment is now closed. Moving on to licenses. Item A, amendment to add additional rain date of Saturday, July 8th, 2023, if needed, to application for fireworks license on July 4th by Johnson Spawn Civic Association, John Giusti, to be located at 3 Osprey Drive, July 4th, 2023, 9:30 PM, rain date July 5th, 2023, as per Coventry Code 169-5, Section G. Do I hear a motion to approve the amendment?
Make a motion with the amendment.
I'll second it.
Motion by Councilmember Pasqua, second by Councilmember Shockley. Discussion?
The, needs to be added rain dates for Sunday, July 9th on top of this. Primary date would be July 8th, rain date July 9th.
Are you making a formal motion?
Make that
Motion from Councilmember Pasqua,
I'll second it.
second from Councilmember Shockley. Any discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua. Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes,
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
we're now back to the motion as amended. Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua.
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley.
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Moving on to election and or appointment of town officials. Item A, town council appointments. First, we have Friends of Human Services, one opening. We have Cole Campbell. Is Cole here today? Hi. Yes, just come right up to the mic and tell us your name and address and a little bit about yourself.
I'm from Project Friends, it's a senior center, but it's also a day program for people with disabilities.
Great. And looks like here you want to join the committee.
Yes.
Any discussion for members of the council? Vice President LeBlanc.
Cool. Can you just let us know how long you've lived in town and why you're interested in joining this?
Yeah, so I'm from Coventry. I lived there all my life, and I've been on the Project Friends for 2 years now. And why I want to join. I have disabilities of my own, and I like to not afraid to speak out on them. And I know my fellow friends and stuff have disabilities too, and might be, kind of afraid to speak on them, where I'm a little bit more open. So I feel like I would give some good information there and make the program a little bit better as a whole. So
Great. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Councilmember Shockley.
Thanks for being here tonight, Mr. Campbell. It looks also like you have a reference perhaps in Mr. Robillard,
Yes.
who's here with you tonight.
Yes.
That's fantastic. That would be enough for me to get a yes vote.
Cole, I think I remember you. You're a very awarded Special Olympics athlete, aren't you?
Yes.
I remember you at the pep rally last year for Unified Oakers, right?
Yes, went to Coventry High School all 4 years. They were very nice to invite me back. I don't know if this means anything, but they have an Oka Award from the graduation, and basically what it means is just, leading by example and showing that you're a great student, a great person and stuff. So I've got most nominations, and I got that award. So it's really honoring, and I feel honored to be in this role too and help out a little. Always willing to help out.
Excellent. You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Thank you. So at this point, I'll entertain a motion to appoint Cole Campbell to the Friends of Human Services Board.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Councilmember Shockley, second by Vice President LeBlanc. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Absolutely.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes,
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight.
Anytime.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to B, Historic Preservation Commission. Madam Clerk, am I reading this right? We have one auxiliary member opening. Is that technically an alternate or, okay. Is Deanna O'Brien present this evening? Hi. Welcome. Just state your name and address for the record.
Sure, it's actually Dina.
Oh, Dina,
O'Brien.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It looks like Deanna, so my mom wanted.
My
to butcher
apologies.
me. Dina O'Brien. I live at 622 Hope Furnace Road. My husband and I built our house back in 2017, so we've been living in our little area of the woods since then. So I live with my husband Kevin and my daughter Mia, who's 15, and our little Pomeranian Louie. I am 39 years old. I'm an attorney and a real estate agent, so fairly busy, but I like being busy and I like being involved. As an attorney and a real estate agent, I enjoy being around people, talking, being involved. I was a member of a different committee. Unfortunately, we didn't have a quorum, so we haven't been meeting recently. And so just looking to get involved in a different way. Being an attorney, I've always been very interested in history and English were kind of my strong suits in school, as opposed to math or science, which was the total opposite of my sister. So just thought it was a different way to be involved in something that I've always enjoyed.
I remember you now. Thank you. Any discussion for Dina? Councilmember Shockley?
Are there not enough members on the Conservation Commission, or just not enough members that come?
I don't believe there are enough members.
If there were, would you continue to be interested in that commission?
Sure.
I thought it was only a 3-member commission.
I think we just appointed 2 in the last month or so. So they're trying to get the meetings going again. I know that. So that should be forthcoming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd like you to help keep that
Sure.
moving. without overburdening yourself with your job, your 15-year-old and another commission.
Any other questions for Dina? Thank you very much. Is Colleen Hodges here? Welcome. Just state your name and address for the record.
Short people. My name is Colleen Hodges. I live at 39 York Drive.
Welcome.
I grew up in Coventry. I graduated from Coventry High School. I moved far away and then came back in 2019 and looking for things to get involved in. I got involved with the Payne House Museum in Riches and Western Rhode Island Civic Historical Society. I'm currently the president of that, which is actually a glorified version of the person that gets all the complaints from everybody. But trying to get more involved in history. There's a ton of history in this town, and I don't know that the public is necessarily aware of it. I do have a question for y'all, if you don't mind. There's a Historical Preservation Commission and historical, in the budget. I don't have the paper in front of me. Historic
District Commission.
District, that's what it is, Historical District. Are those two different things or are they the same thing?
That's a great question.
Stump the panel?
I think they're the same, but I can look into that for you. and
I'm
get
just
back to you.
curious as I went through the line item budget. I have 33 years of working government, retired, and probably half of that time working with nonprofits. So I have a good understanding of what's required of government appointed committees and public information and FOIA requests and all that stuff. Also a fairly decent ability to work with non-governmental organizations. So trying to mesh the two together and get everybody on the same page. I'm a big believer in working together with people and keeping everything open and available and just very transparent. So.
Thank you. Any discussion for Colleen?
Just curious, as a local Coventry resident, your whole life, where do you consider far away?
Oh, at Houston. I lived in Houston for 40.
Just
something
checking we
years.
weren't talking about Mass, you know.
Yeah, no, not that far away. I can put on the Southern accent if y'all want to know it, but I don't generally do it. No, my husband and I moved back here in 2019. My mother still lives in Coventry. She's 91 and she still lives in the same house I grew up in. So,
All right. Thank you very much.
thank you.
I did want to throw out there, the council can make whatever decision it would like. I was at the Independence Day open house at the Green Homestead, and there was a gentleman there who was filled out an application. He needed to send it to our clerk, and he was interested in this. I mean, obviously, we have two great candidates here. He's someone who lives in town. He's not involved in any other committees or commissions, so just wanted to throw it out there. He's one of the volunteers at the homestead, so not sure if we want to bring in that particular part of our historic heritage as well, but just wanted to throw it out there. But if the council wants to make a motion for either of these candidates tonight, that's up to them.
I'd like to make a motion in hoping that we can keep the other commission moving forward. Mr. Bryan, I'm going to make a motion to have Colleen Hodges be the auxiliary member of the Historic Preservation Commission.
We have a motion from Councilmember Shockley. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Pasqua. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
President Lima, could we
Yes.
just make sure we let that gentleman know how to sign up to get notification of when meetings are happening in case he just wants to, see what it's about? And I'm sure we'll have openings.
Well, yeah, I'm sure we can, I'm going to look at the terms for that committee when we get home, or when I get home. But all right. Moving on to C, Traffic Advisory Board. We have 2 openings for members of the public, one for a council member. Is George Nicola here? Nicola, welcome. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Excuse me, George Nicola. I live in Oak Haven, 13 Vanderbilt Terrace. Kind of grew up in Coventry, went to school there, back, graduated in '69. Married, left the town, came back in 2017.
Discussion, questions? Councilmember Pasqua.
Thank you for coming in today. What intrigued you to apply for this committee, and what do you hope to accomplish with this committee?
Well, retired, so I have more time now. I retired from Berklee College of Music. Really worked all my life in systems, either application development, moving things along, inventory, a wide range. So I figured I might be of some help and I might learn something.
Any other discussion? Thank you very much. Is Paul McAfee here? Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
thank
Just state your name and address for the record. Make sure the mic is turned on.
you.
Should
Hi.
just be pushed up. Yep.
Hi, I'm Paul McAfee, 120 Twinbrook Lane, Coventry, Rhode Island, the other Twinbrook Lane official. John, it's nice to meet you. Thank you very much. I think it's the first time I've ever had a councilman call me back. So very appreciative of that. So thank you very much. Vote well spent, I have to say. Lived in Coventry since 1994. Built a house in Twinbrook Lane. That was the last time we had the road paved at that point in time. I've been in IT for over 31 years. Hold various senior director role sets. Right now, I'm senior director for Fresenius Medical Care. Actually roll out digital-based products, have a lot of data analytic capabilities, very large program. Management style sets, and been basically a consultant for years through HP Enterprise Services. So I've had the ability to work with state governments and local governments, and traveled internationally and looked at different things. So I have a very vast array of, I guess, experience. To me, one of the things that I have been married over 31 years to my lovely wife Monique, who's been a longtime Rhode Island resident. I came initially from New York. Loved your question about how far. That was good because I laughed about something like that. Originally came from New York, moved down here in '88, graduated from Rhode Island College, got my master's degree out of Bryant College. I believe you're an alumni, so.
Rick, yep.
And that piece of it. Have 18-year-old son that got accepted to URI School of Chemical Engineering. He starts in August. Very excited about that. Have dogs, and for me, I've lived in Coventry over 30 years as a resident. I've never really gotten involved in anything. I think maybe it's time, as I'm getting older on in age, to maybe take an interest in that. I start to see what you guys are doing from a town perspective as opposed to other council members. Kind of intrigues me. I have a lot of interest in that. I'd like to see how I can provide some support. There might be some areas of expertise that you guys have as you're going through your transformational aspects that I talked to John about, that I'd be more than willing to, help invest my time to be able to help this town move forward. I actually like this town. We have a lot to offer. We have a few bumps in the roads like everybody else, and especially on the traffic side of the house. That's right. It's good playing with on that side. So I saw that, and I just talked to John and said, maybe there's something I can look at. There might be analytics that you guys need to look at. Might be data that you guys need to know, but you don't know how to actually organize that or do something like that. Might be some areas that you might need to think outside the box. It might be some of the root causes or some of the other areas that kind of inflict this town. So, I just thought it was a good opportunity to step in and apply to get involved in it. Don't know much about traffic, but I think maybe as a resident, I think it's my obligation to try to see if I can.
Just wanting to get involved is the biggest first step. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any discussion from members of the council? Vice President LeBlanc.
First, I'm a Bulldog alum, so you got that as
All
well.
right, so I got 2 out of 3.
Second of all, just a clarification on your first call back from a councilman. I don't think you gave me the opportunity to call you back, so I just want to throw that out there too.
I didn't know. I didn't know you were my councilman. James, I didn't know.
I'm just kidding. And then I didn't know if you had anything particular that you wanted to accomplish on this specific board, but it sounds like you just want to get involved, which I can
That's good
certainly
for me.
appreciate.
Yeah, I think, if you look at it, I know I complain. The one biggest thing with the repaving project that you got going on, right? There's a good and bad with it, right? The way the roads are, people don't drive like Aunt Mariel and Dread. Right now, when we redo that, let's see if we can try to figure out a way to help people be a little safer. I get an 18-year-old. I try to explain to him, look, that car is 5,000 pounds. As you drive fast, you can't stop on a dime, right? You might not intentionally want to hurt someone. You might not intentionally want to hurt yourself, but I think maybe some educational pieces are how I can help. Just some of the out-of-box thinking that way, Councilman.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any discussion on Mr. McAfee?
Not, thank you. I appreciate everything you've had to say. Are we taking 2 resident members plus a council person? Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate both of you coming forward, especially Mr. Nicola. We don't often get a lot of District 4 people to join these committees, so I'm glad we're getting some representation there. Vice President LeBlanc.
I'll make a motion to appoint all 3 as a block.
Motion from Vice President LeBlanc,
I'll second that.
second from Councilmember Shockley. Discussion. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Do I hear a motion to approve the block?
I'll make the motion.
Motion from Vice President LeBlanc,
I'll second it.
second from Councilmember Shockley. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Can I ask, Ms. Pasqua, do you know how many more members we're looking for to this? That's it. Okay.
Yeah, this is a very heavy staff. I think it's town manager, police chief, DPW, planning director, engineer. So, and then it's just these.
Great. I love that the 2 residents who signed up are in different parts of town and seem to come from different perspectives. So thank you very much to both of you.
Wait, not to get in the weeds. Should Mr. Pasco have abstained from voting for himself? Should we revote on that?
As a matter of, Robert's rules would control and he would be allowed
Okay,
to vote on this.
just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Not trying to bust chops, just want to be sure. Okay. All right, moving on to resolutions of the council. Item A, resolution 2023-42, approval of RIDOT bridge replacement projects from Maple Valley Road and Nicholas Road. This is on pages 22 to 31 in your packets. Resolution reads, whereas in the town of Coventry, Rhode Island DOT has plans to replace bridge number 084301 Maple Valley Road over Flat River and bridge number 084601 Nicholas Road over Flat River as part of the statewide transportation improvement program. And they have provided a construction maintenance agreement attached, as these are town-owned structures identified as Bridge Group 42C Green Bridges. And as part of the agreement, the town will be responsible for coordinating and mitigating the impact to adjacent property owners per item 7 in the agreement, which includes making necessary housing accommodations for one homeowner if requested, who will lose access to their property for 2 to 4 days in 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that the Coventry Town Council approves of the Rhode Island DOT Project 3201 for the replacement of the Maple Valley Road Bridge over Flat River and the Nicholas Road Bridge over Flat River, and that the town agrees to all of the stipulations of the construction and maintenance agreement. Do I hear a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Motion from Vice President Blank, second from Councilmember Pasqua. Discussion before I go to you, Vice President LeBlanc. Manager Perillo, did you want to say anything on this item?
I just wanted to say that DOT reached out. I guess this has been an ongoing or long awaited process and they finally got to it on their list. So because we do own the properties, they need this agreement that we agree to do our share of the agreement. And they needed a council resolution. So that's why it's in front of us today. The deadline is July 31st to get this back to DOT. So that's why we put it on for tonight.
Vice President LeBlanc.
The third bullet point talks about the that homeowner that will lose access to their house. 2 questions. Have we reached out to that homeowner yet? And who will be responsible for paying for those housing accommodations?
We are responsible and we have not reached out to him yet because the time frame is unknown. they're talking 2025 sometime, by the time that part of the project where he's gonna have to vacate is scheduled for, but that's not set yet. So as that gets closer, we'll be responsible for putting him up, if him or her up, if need be, if they can't make other arrangements with family or elsewhere.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Shockley.
I just want to make sure I read it correctly, and this is through state and federal funding. And then the town will be responsible for maintaining the bridges after they're taken care of.
Yes.
I just have another question, which might have to be answered in the future, but I don't know if either of the roads are on the road repaving project plan, and if maybe we should take care of them around that same time if we're going to be fixing the bridge. So just something.
I can
I
have
was-
Director McGee check on that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Item B, Resolution 2023-43, approval of the contract between the Town of Coventry and the IBPO Local 306 from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2027. It's on page 32 to 121 of your packets. Missing the resolution. I got it. The resolution reads, whereas in the Town of Coventry, the contract between the Town of Coventry and the International Brotherhood of Police Officers, IBPO, Local 306 expired on June 30th, 2022, and the representatives from both sides have met for the past 60 days to agree on a provisional new contract, and the IBPO Local 306 members have voted to approve said contract. And now therefore be it resolved that the Honorable Town Council approves the contract that has been negotiated by both groups of representatives, including funding the fiscal note totaling approximately $719,945 over the next 5 years of the contract. Do I hear a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Councilmember Pasqua, second by Councilmember Shockley. Discussion. Vice President LeBlanc.
I would just like to make an amendment to the last paragraph where it says number 1, it's line 29. Instead of saying 719,945 over the next 5 years, I think it should say 719,945 for the 5-year contract, because it's currently July 2023 and it's stopping in 2027, so that's 4 years.
So we have a motion, is that a motion? Motion from Vice President LeBlanc. Do we hear a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Pasqua. Any discussion on the amendment? Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes,
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
we're now back to the resolution as amended. Councilmember Shockley.
I just want to make clear to the public that at our last meeting in executive session, the council did discuss this contract in depth. So tonight, this approval isn't based on having just seen this contract or having no questions. We've already had that discussion, I believe, before the IBPO voted on it.
Solicitor Angel.
I'd just like to take a moment to thank the union leadership for beginning all over again. This was a contract negotiation that was in process when I came through the door in late November. We don't need to amend the 60 days, but we've been at it for a little while longer than that. As soon as Mr. Perillo came through the door, he came on board. The council's concern and the union's concern was creating stability in the relationship between the rank and file and the town in terms of officer retention. A big component of that was the parity with respect to retiree health benefits and some other aspects of the contract. The contract is a complete rewrite. The union also had new legal counsel. Myself and Mr. Penza had the opportunity to blow up the whole contract and start over again. It's clearer. It will most likely eliminate what we've seen in the past with grievance after grievance after grievance. In addition to which, in the course of the negotiation, and since I would say probably December, there were any number of grievances pending, unrelated to the contract with the police department. We don't have a single grievance pending at this point, and the resolution of those grievances did not cost the town a penny. So I think, all in all, I think there's a reset on the esprit de corps between town management and the rank and file police. And hopefully this will take some great measure to addressing the officer retention problem that the town has experienced, and this council has acknowledged both in the budget process and in the last few months. So those are my comments. I want to thank Manager Perillo. He's been super to work with in a contract negotiation, but really for the union to have reset all the tentative agreements that they had and erase them so that we could start over again and take a more holistic approach to this was important to the town and for the council, as they expressed to me. And I think that was largely accomplished here, as well as, I think I don't know when the last time was that they've seen a 5-year contract here, but to create a structure where we stagger our contracts as opposed to negotiating them all in 1 year. And the union was open to that. I know that, it's no secret that there've been some financial issues here in the town. And this adds a bit of predictability to that piece of the budget process, at least in the near term. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Manager Perillo.
Yes, I just want to thank the union leadership. Very professional throughout the whole process whatsoever. I mean, they really didn't know the solicitor and I at all coming in. So they were very open and honest as to what they wanted to see accomplished. And I think we really gave them a new fundamental document, a new foundation going forward. And we reestablished our relationship with the town. And I think it's going to be positive going forward. I think this is just the beginning. And I think what they received and what we've gotten back is a very fair process, very fair contract. And I hope the council approves it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. And thank you to our union leadership team as well. Any further discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Moving on to item C, resolution 2023-44, approval to place a question on the ballot for a special referendum election on October 3rd, 2023 for a school bond not to exceed $25 million. I'll read the resolution. Whereas in the town of Coventry, the town endorses and supports the rehabilitation, construction, renovation, and repair of all of the existing school buildings in town. In order to undertake and complete the project, there needs to be an issuance of bonds and notes in the amount not to exceed 25 million. And the town hereby memorializes the passage by the General Assembly of legislation authorizing the town to issue said bonds and notes in the amount not to exceed 25 million for the above purpose. And subject to approval of state housing aid, the reimbursement rate or state rate share ratio shall be not less than 49.2% for expenditures eligible for reimbursement. Now therefore be it resolved that the Honorable Town Council orders that the following question be placed on the ballot at a special referendum election on October 3rd, 2023. Local question number 1, construction, renovation, rehabilitation, repair, improvement, furnishing and or equipping of and or additions to schools and school facilities, bonds and notes not to exceed 25 million. Chapters 21 and 22 Local Acts 2023 shall an act passed at the 2023 session of the General Assembly entitled an act authorizing the town of Coventry to issue not more than 25 million bonds and notes to finance construction, renovation, rehabilitation, repair, improvement, furnishing and or equipping of and or additions to schools and school facilities throughout the town, subject to approval of state local school housing aid at a reimbursement rate or state share ratio of not less than 49.2% for expenditures eligible for reimbursement be approved, approve, reject. The clerk of the Board of Canvassers is authorized to make such alterations to such questions as may be required or requested by the Office of Rhode Island Secretary of State. Before I ask for a motion, I just want to advise, we have Mr. Conte here today from Studio Jade, who will have a brief presentation on more of the specifics of the projects that are going to be included. Do I hear a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Second by, motion by Councilmember Shockley, second by Councilman Pasqua. Discussion, Vice President Blank.
I was looking at other couple of the towns and cities that have passed similar language. Their language included a mention of RIDE. I don't think ours does. They also included engineering costs and architecture costs, and I don't believe ours does. I don't know if it needs to, but I just wanted to at least call that out.
Mr. Ferrara is here, our bond counsel as well. I don't know if you want to come up and address that. He helped draft the language for this.
David Ferrara, Town's Bond Counsel. These acts take many, I can show you 20 that look similar to this question. Sometimes the question, the actual question, sometimes the label on top is short, sometimes it's long. The state does a very short question, but the architectural and engineering are in that by its nature. So I don't, and the other question, Councilman, was the first one?
Including RIDE.
I've never seen that. So
Okay.
I don't think it's
It's a little unusual.
it's a little unusual. It's totally
I
unnecessary.
believe I was looking at Johnson to be exact, but
Yeah, they had a very long and very confusing question.
They had a
to be
long,
honest.
yeah, if I may, I mean, they had a long and confusing question, and if you're following it in the press, they have all sorts of problems with that bond. But I've taken a look at this. I want to compliment Mr. Ferrara and his work as bond counsel. He's done a fine job drafting what we needed, and I concur with the language.
I even ran this by a local elections director that I know closely as well, to have them check it as they just did a recent school bond and incorporated some of that feedback as well.
that's fair. I just, they had included it, and I know that we are paying engineering and architecture fees. I
Okay.
didn't know if we wanted to be explicit.
If there's no other discussion, thank you. We'll bring up Mr. Conte at this time. Oh, I shouldn't. Okay. Sorry to make you do this, but I don't want to violate the OMA. So I guess because we don't have the projects listed on here. But
Okay.
maybe we can just send the presentation to the council. Cody?
Sure,
Okay.
sure, that's fine.
All right,
All
thank
right.
you.
No problem.
Sorry about that. All right, any other discussion on the, so what will happen from here is this resolution and language will go to our local board of canvassers. They will have a vote to certify what the council's approved, and then it will be sent to the state board of elections from there. And it has to be done by August 15th. So knowing that we're trying to take a little bit of a recess here for the remainder of July, we're trying to get out in front of this. Not to mention having this cemented down and having the scope of the project cemented down gives time to the parent group that's serving as the capital campaign committee to have more detail to start advertising and doing what they need to do. So, any other discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Moving on to public comment for undocketed items. Are there any members of the public here who'd like to make a comment on an item that wasn't on our docket this evening? Any members of the public on Zoom? Public comment on an item that's not docketed this evening? Going once, going twice, 3 times. Public comment is now closed. Do I hear a motion to go into executive session for the following? Executive or closed session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law, Section 42-46-5A2, recollective bargaining of the SRP contract.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Shockley, second by Vice President LeBlanc. Any discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua, Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima,
Yes,
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
we will now go into executive session. Do I hear a motion to come out of executive session?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Shockley, second from Councilmember Pasqua. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc.
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Do I hear a motion to seal the minutes of executive session?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion from Vice President LeBlanc, second from Councilmember Shockley. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Pasqua,
Yes.
Councilmember Shockley,
Yes.
Vice President LeBlanc,
Yes.
President Lima.
Yes.
4 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, motion passes.
Members of the public, the council met in executive session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law, Section 42-46-5A2, recollective bargaining of the SRP contract. The discussion was had, no votes were taken. Do I hear a motion to adjourn at 7:36 PM?
I know that, Madam President, if I may, I know this is a non-debatable motion, but I know there was some internal wagering about whether we'd get out before 8 or how much before 8. I just want to know who won.
All I know is drinks on Joanne and Dan.
Yes.
Oh, right.
For the for the record, I'm
Not on
part
town
of, I'm not part of any of wager here.
Right.
In any event, motion?
Yes.
I'll
Motion
second.
from Councilmember Shockley, second from Vice President LeBlanc. All those in favor? Aye.